that into part 3 or whatever. So let's talk about oddities. Power of the Light scales only from max stamina. Pets only skill of and pets only skill of max resource. So the bear only scales of max stamina or max magicka. Same like the volatile familiar, the clanter, and some such. They only skill of max magicka. Basically, they skill of the max stat. Pets get your crit chance. Pets do not get your crit damage modifier. So if you're running a sword, you shouldn't have so much elfborn if you're running pets. Okay? So, any other oddities that someone would like to mention, or if it failed? Purifying Light, max magicka. The only skills on max magicka as well. I'm trying to think if there are any oddities over here. And again, for those of the direct damage versus dots, I'll link into the general chat for Trojan Horse, an add-on, ui.com, constellations, so that you guys can, because this add-on was added, I think it was like what, a couple months ago, whatever, or was it months ago? And you want to use this to kind of figure out how much of your DPS is coming from direct damage versus dots. Okay, so how does this add-on use? I'll put in the video so you guys can refer back in this part 4 or whatever. But generally, you want to do an initial parse. After you do your initial parse, and you want to adjust the sliders for your spell penetration, your weapon penetration. And then you want to just, you can go ahead and flip to the next page, which is your champion points. The next tab is champion points. For those who already have the add-on, you know what I'm talking about. For those who don't have it, go get it now. Okay, now I'll do a short demonstration on how to use this. And then you have you want to unbind the account for old champion points, and you want to look at your old versus your new, and then you want to see whether it's true or not. And remember, penetration does play a role when it tells you to put your champion points. So you need to decide on your own how much penetration are you hitting for that target. So for example, let's say if I was using on my Magicka Templar here, I'll just do a quick rotation on the Magicka Templar. I'm just go ahead and change my power real quick. I'll link this again later. With the other dummy. Then I'll just go ahead and use this dummy. It's okay, it's a little bit lower. Because I'm trying to get a dots versus direct damage. Because I keep getting asked this question over and over again. How many should I put into Master Arms versus Thaumaturge? Right? And even I'm still getting asked that question. So we will go ahead and do this out, get it off the way. Again, it depends on how you rotate. So just get it out of the way. Hopefully my rotation won't be utter crap right now. Am I using Spell Essence? Let's just go ahead and use Spell Essence anyways. Whoa, there was lag spike there. Oh, there's a lot of lag spikes right now. Jesus Christ. So really quick parse 30k. Okay, there we go. So let's talk a little bit about. I'll go ahead and take a screenshot real quick of my current parse. Link in chat, of course. Where is it? Okay, over here. Link in Trojan horse. So that's my current parse. So let's talk a little bit about analyzing instead. Do what's useful. Analyze your DPS, figure out what's wrong with your rotation, and then so let's just say I actually did a lot of mistakes in the rotation. I lag spiked a couple times in there, but it didn't let me get me down. I just focused on what I need to do and just changed my timing on Jesus Beam, because your rotation changes for match flower after the Jesus Beam phase. So you can do it earlier or later depending on the price and the timing. So obviously I'm not the best rotation. I only hit 30k. My Radiant Destruction was top. My Radiant Destruction is what? A direct damage? A dot? Maybe, I don't know. I'm just presuming that I'm a new player and I don't know. I do, but I'm just gonna keep that information myself for now. So Jesus Beam was top of the parse. Blockade of Fire, which is obviously a dot. People say a dot. Punch Ring Sweeps. Hey, I'm not sure if this is a dot or direct damage. What should I do about it? Fiery Weapon. Is this a dot or direct damage? I'm pretty sure it probably is a direct damage. Vampire's Bane. And Vampire's Bane, by the way, you can actually tell. Vampire's Bane actually, if I link it, let me link it so that everybody in the guild can see it as well. Oops, reset. Choose a Templar. Go as Dawn's Wrath, Sunflare, Vampire's Bane, and just go ahead and link it into the guild. Whoops. Let's link it into the guild here. So Vampire's Bane, blast enemy with charge of radiant hit, dealing 4.6k fire damage and additional 15k flame damage over 11.7 seconds, which means that Vampire's Bane is both direct damage and it triple dips, right? It gets both Elemental Expert, and of course it gets Elfborn and its Spell Erosion, no duh. But it also gets Master at Arms and also Thaumaturge. But the majority of the damage comes from Thaumaturge, because you could say that 3 out of 4 of the damage, because the whole thing does approximately 20k. But of that 20k, the 15k is actually a dot. So how much do I need Man at Arms versus that? So I don't know yet. Burning Light, okay, whatever. Blazing Spear, probably is it a dot only? Nope, it is also a direct damage and a dot. So I'm just going ahead and link it real quick for everybody to see. So this is just kind of me figuring out what would I be doing for rotation. Like what would I put my champion points in? Am I trying to figure out if, you know, how much DPS am I supposed to be doing and how do I get myself to 30k? This is just me normally how I go through my process of doing my homework. And then after that, I go through Fiery Rage, okay, so on and so forth. Purifying Light, DPS was only so good. And then Grofdar is only 1.2k. Aww, Grofdar sucks. No surprise, proc sets kind of suck. They don't scale off crit. So burning was 1.2k. Actually, burning was really high, even though it was technically just a status ailment. You know, Blazing Spear is not that high, so on and so forth. And you see Blazing Spear here has 2 parses. One is at 651 DPS, and then one is at 1.5k DPS. So can anybody tell me why is it that I have 2 parses for certain things from the same skill? Willis, can you actually tell me? I think you've seen it before from Shocking Clench or something. You there, Willis? Well, I think Willis is kind of AFK. So. You don't know why sometimes there are 2 parses for a single, for your combat metrics. Is that it?
Like how?
Like you have 2 spots of Blazing Spear, or you have two parses for Shock Clench.
Is that direct and damage over time? Am I getting it wrong?
No, you're completely right. So Vampire's Bane, there's also 2. I'll go ahead and link in the video later what I mean by that. Because I know some of the guys, it's comment metrics can't see what's at the bottom. Purifying Light as well is both a direct damage and a dot. So in most of the parses that you can see at the top are dots from my presumptions. But anyways, I'm just going to use Constellations, right? And then I'm going to put my Spell Penetration. I'm just going to treat it at max for now. I'm just whatever. It's actually, mine should be at about 15k. So I'll just go ahead and just plop it to 15k, hold down shift so that I can go a little bit faster. And then, you know, do over my champion points. So it tells me that of all my, so I'm gonna take a screenshot of how it looks like right now. How does my screen look like so you guys know what I'm working with. This is what my screen looks like right now. So I'm using Constellations, the add-on. So it tells me that my spell critical damage, spell critical damage was 58.1%. Sorry, 58.1 is spell critical damage was 100, spell penetration, and it actually goes all the way to tell me my damage ratios as well. My magical damage was 98.5, so that means the 1.5 came from my swords. Welcome, user. Magical direct damage was only 20.7%. So direct damage for me is not really an option to pump into. My magical damage over time is 70%. Okay, so obviously I need to pump into Thaumaturge and maybe not that much into Man-at-Arms. Direct staff attacks, Magicka Templars, channeling, not a lot of staff attacks, 3.3%. Dot staff attacks. I'm not using a lightning staff. I'm not using a resto staff. Magical critable damage was 90%. So that 10% is Grothdars, which is again why monster sets. Monster sets don't crit. So how do I place my champion points? Now I'm going to go over to my next tree. I hit the calculate button, right? My game lags for a little bit. It needs to, the constellations needs to calculate, and then I'll take another screenshot for you guys to see what it looks like. Okay, I'll print screen this, and I'll share with you guys in a hurry. Okay, just upload this so you guys can see from my second screenshot that what is the funny thing over there. Elemental Expert, it tells me to raise. Spell Erosion, it tells me to lower. And Elfborn, it tells me to lower. My Thaumaturge, it tells me to lower. Aha! But here is where I need to have my own agency. Should I really dump my Thaumaturge lower than 75% if I'm using all dots, right? And if I'm playing with a Magicka Sword, I know the meta I'm going to be playing Magicka Sword because I have Garfing to play with. Most of the people I pug with are running Magicka Sword, so on and so forth. So I have the access to exploit the passive. So why would I put Thaumaturge to 66%? This thing with Constellations is telling me that I should put this amount of statistics if I want to get more self-buff DPS. That doesn't mean you should follow it. Because after all, you also need to get your DPS from trials, from other people buffing you, you know, Magicka Swords or Crushers or from Alkosh tanks or whatever the heck. From Major Fracture, your healer. And by the way, to mention this other thing to do with having healers and a lot of the people who are getting more than 35k as a Magicka DPS, for people who get more than 35k or more than 30k as a Magicka DPS, they ask a healer to give them elemental drain and synergy. And what that essentially does is that they don't need to be using they don't need to rotate elemental drain. When you don't rotate elemental drain, you have one more turn in the game to be using your spammables, to be buffing yourself, or maybe you get rid of your buffs and get somebody else to buff you. Like for example, if I'm a Magicka Sword, for example, right? Like I use Power Surge to buff myself with crit. If I have a Magicka DK and he's also using Major Sorcery for the whole group, I don't need to actually slot that in. But actually any DK for that matter. But my point being is that when you do your self-buff rotation as a Magicka Sword, right, you actually gain, when you self-buff, you have to think about reapplying your own buffs. The time you use to reapply your own buffs, you're not doing as much damage. That's pretty much it. Okay, I think that this has gone long enough. Like I've pretty much gone here long enough. So can anybody else ask me anything more? I'm gonna stop this video right here.